Iraq, Baghdad, the playground for the rich and infamous, where anything can be bought but for a price. This is Uday Hussein's world, son of Saddam Hussein. With his depraved lust for debauchery and immorality, he helps himself to whatever turns him on. He has no time to do politics, so he wants to find a body double for himself to do his boring tasks. This is why the army lieutenant Latif Yahya is summoned to Saddam's palace. He is faced with an impossible request in which he has to be Uday's body double / or political decoy, if not, his family condemned to death. In a world full of betrayal and corruption, knowing who to trust becomes a matter of life or death for Latif as he battles to escape from his forced existence. At the start, we see Latif in a car, thinking about the days when he was involved in the war with Iran, and at the same time, Saddam's son's people are taking him to the presidential palace. As soon as Latif enters the palace, he meets a girl named Sarab, which can be said Uday's girlfriend. We see Uday, who comes to Latif, and here it turns out that they were classmates before. Uday suggests Latif to play the role of his replacement, his body double, because he knows that many people are looking to assassinate him, plus he can go on politics mission for him. But Latif does not accept this offer. Then the sadistic Uday orders his men to torture Latif. The next day, he again offers Latif to play the role, but he still does not agree to this, until Manam threatens him if he does not accept, they will send all his family members to Abu Ghraib. Later, Latif cooperates with them because of his family, and he undergoes a minor cosmetic surgery to perfect his resemblance to Uday. A few days later, he takes Latif to a disco and introduces him to Sarab. He says that Latif is Saddam's third son. Here we see that Sarab starts to like Latif. After a while in there, Latif is disgusted by what he is seeing in the club and puts on his fake teeth to look like Uday so that he can sneak out, and takes Uday's car to go to his family, but Uday's people are already there and take him back. The next day, he tortures Latif again to make him forget about running away from him. After this, Latif decides to adapt himself and to accept the fact that he has no choice, so he better to believe he is son of Saddam, and he pretends to be like him and to do what they ask him to do. One day, they take Latif to Saddam to start his work. After getting the approval, he enters Saddam's office, and there we see Saddam's assistant, named Kamal. After Latif's approval, he points him to leave the room. Later, Latif sees Saddam's body double and his son Ghazi, and their Ghazi easily recognizes that Latif is not his brother, because his brother Uday is a tool, but Latif has some manners. After a while, it's time for Latif's first mission. After an appearance at a conference with several Kuwaiti leaders, an attempt is made on his life, apparently by a member of a rebel opposition group, possibly a Kurd. The real Uday, though, is more concerned with the Kuwaitis, who he believes have been slant drilling from Iraq oil field. Iraq invades Kuwait in August 1990, which begins the First Gulf War. With the fall of Kuwait, Uday proclaims the age of the sheiks is over. Uday's increasingly violent, sadistic tendencies are displayed when he kidnaps a 14-year-old schoolgirl and forces her to escort him to a party. At the party, based on an actual 1988 celebration honoring Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak's wife, Uday becomes enraged with his father's personal bodyguard Kamal. Uday believes he facilitated an affair between Saddam and some other women, which devastated his mother, and he also expresses jealousy at the trust his father places in Kamal. When Kamal disrupts Uday's sexual advances towards his young victim, Uday butchers him with an electric carving knife in front of all the guests. The next morning, Uday's bodyguards are seen dumping the beaten body of the girl. Saddam immediately becomes furious over Uday's latest indiscretion and pays him a visit to a local clinic after Uday accidentally takes an overdose of sleeping pills to calm down. While Latif watches, Saddam gives Uday a severe beating in his hospital bed for the killing of Kamal and even threatens to cut his junks, but calms down after the doctor says he will die due to the loss of blood, and decides to spare Uday because he is still his firstborn son and heir to the leadership of Iraq. As Saddam leaves Uday's room, he mutters to Latif, "I should have killed him at birth." In January 1991, Latif, acting as Uday, is sent to Basra to rally support among Republican Guard soldiers as coalition forces have taken control of the war. At Basra, another attempt is made on Latif's life. To Uday's great concern, Latif nearly loses a pinky in the assault, which presumably would mean that Uday would have to have his own finger amputated to maintain their resemblance, but doctors are able to save Latif's finger. Later, Latif is confronted by the father of the young girl that Uday killed. Uday eavesdrops on the conversation and is outraged by the man's pleas for justice and compassion. Uday orders Latif to kill the man, but Latif refuses and instead slits his own wrists, saying, "You need me more than I do." After Latif recovers, he confronts Uday at his birthday party. The confrontation escalates to a shootout and Latif escapes in Uday's Mercedes-Benz with Uday's lover, Sarab, whom has recently become romantically involved with Latif. The two escape to Malta, but Sarab, fearing for her 3-year-old daughter in Iraq, calls Uday begging for the chance to return without being harmed, and their hidden place exposed as the result of contacting Uday by Sarab. Then an assassin sent by Uday just misses while shooting Latif. Latif confronts Sarab with her telling Uday where she is out of fear for her daughter's safety. Latif tells her that he will not help her to get her daughter out of Iraq and tells her to leave, but gives her some money so she can live while taking her daughter somewhere safe. The distraught Sarab walks out on Latif and goes off on her own almost as soon as Latif arrive on the island. Uday calls Latif and offers him one final chance to return to Iraq as he has got his father and threatens him to kill his father if he refuses. Latif says he will not return as his father told him to do, so his father is killed. However, Latif does return to Iraq, but not to continue to serve as Uday's double, but rather to kill him, with the help of a man whose bride killed herself after being forced and beaten by Uday on their wedding day. In an adapted version of the attempt on Uday's life made by the 15th Shaban in 1996, Latif and his partner ambush Uday while he is attempting to lure young girls into his Porsche from school. They wound him severely, including mangling his genitalia with a direct shot. One of Uday's bodyguards catches up to Latif as he flees the scene. The guard, however, is the same one who Latif could have killed as he fled from Uday's birthday party before leaving the country but spared, and the guard extends him the same courtesy. The final shots reveals that Latif currently lives somewhere in Ireland under a false name with his wife and 2 children and has written a book based on his life. Uday Hussein survived the assassination attempt but was temporarily crippled and made a partial recovery. He was later killed in 2003 by American troops during the invasion.